My name is Commissioner Frank Avila of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago, and I have with me the Alderman
of the 39th Ward, Margaret Laurino.
Laurino, and our design engineer, Greg Cook. And the Alderman, Margaret, has been working on this for about over a year, Margaret?
Well, actually since 2010 when we decided to go in this direction with this project.
Yeah, okay? Because this is the very concern of the Alderman here of this area because of all the damage that costs when we have intense rain coming down in a short period of time. 1 inch of rain in Cook County is 15 billion gallons of water. But this last rain we had a little under 6 inches, so 6 times 15 is about 90 billion gallons of water coming down here, and a part of that came into the 38th Ward.
So in the Albany Park community, the project that we have on the board here is a stormwater diversion. It's going to be costly, but certainly we need to do everything we can to try to alleviate flooding for the people here in this community. I understand that Mother Nature, from time to time, she certainly humbles us. However, this is a project that we think will considerably alleviate the flooding here in this community. So thank you so much.
And we have our engineer at the district that is in charge at our end because this is a intergovernment agreement.
Exactly, between the city of Chicago and the Water Reclamation District.
Right, the Alderman came to us, and since we're in charge of stormwater management, we want to help any community throughout Cook County that are having this type of problem, and we want to definitely help the 38th Ward. Now, we're going to have our engineer describe how we're going to solve the problem. Maybe not 100%, but 99% of the problem.
So what we're looking into is putting a tunnel underneath Foster, and it would take on water at the Foster Bridge with the north branch of the Chicago River.
And so this tunnel is going to start where? At Foster?
And the river, the north branch of Chicago River.
North branch Chicago River.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a drop shaft, right?
Correct. And that drop shaft would divert water through the tunnel structure to the North Shore channel.
And so the elevation when it discharged into the North Shore channel, that elevation will be approximately what, 1.5 feet above the level of the channel?
That's correct.
And so we have a difference of elevation of approximately what, about 4 feet?
4 feet from where the intake structure is to where the outlet is at the North Shore channel.
Okay, so we'll review it again. Is that we're going to have a drop shaft right here where Foster and the North Shore channel meets, crosses over.
North branch.
Yeah, a north branch of the Chicago River. The water from the North Branch Chicago River is going to come into, not all of it, but at a certain elevation is going to come into the tunnel, and is going to travel under Foster, and is going to go all the way over to the North Shore channel. And that's at an elevation difference of about 4 feet. And it's going to discharge into the North Shore channel. And that will relieve a lot of the flooding that is occurring along this area. Now, let's show them that drawing.
Our modeling indicates existing flooding is where the red shaded area is, and with the tunnel in place, the flooding would be limited to the orange areas. So where it's red is where we reduce the flooding.
And where it's red is predominantly a lot of your homes, a lot of the basement got flooded, and a lot of expense to the homeowners and also to the tenants that are renting your first floor or your basement apartments. I mean, this last rain probably damaged everything they had in the basement at a big loss. So thank you very much, and I'd like to introduce our chief engineer, Catherine O'Connor. And Catherine O'Connor, our staff has been working on this project for what, about 9 months now, a year?
Yes.
9 months, a year? And so anyone out there in Cook County that is having any problem, we are in charge of stormwater management, and we like to solve problems that are on a regional basis, not on a local basis. but we like to sell where the cost benefit is benefiting people on a larger regional area. And we also have our Commissioner, Barbara McGowan. Barbara?
Yes, hello, Commissioner.
This is Barbara McGowan. At one of our board meetings, Barbara and the rest of the commissioners, we approve an intergovernment agreement working with any municipalities, any government out there that has flooding problem. And Barbara is very concerned also, because what we're concerned about is the communities. They call it environmental justice. That we have a lot of communities out there that are funding, do not have much type of funding to solve these type of problems, and we would help these type of communities.
Right, and Albany Park is just one of the communities that we're working with to alleviate this issue that we have. These issues are not going to go away, they are going to be ongoing, but working together, then we can try to solve these issues, but understand that these issues are going to take time. But we'll be here to work with the community, the mayor, the governor, and if there's anyone else out there, you know, that we can reach out to, or they want to reach out to us, so that we can try and alleviate what's going on here. Know that it's going to take time, and we ask that you be patient. Thank you so much.
And as I mentioned, my name is Commissioner Frank Avila. Barbara and I were commissioners at the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. And 1 inch of rain in Cook County is 15 billion gallons. This last rain that occurred here, April, what days were they? April the 18th and the 19th, total a little under 6 inches. So let's say 6 times 15, that's 90, almost 90 billion came down here in Cook County.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. Today's weather conditions are much different than they were earlier this week when the heavy rains once again flooded Albany Park. Like in 2008, I stand here with Mayor Emanuel, then our Congressman, in the aftermath of flooded homes, temporarily displaced residents who ruined property. 5 years ago, he helped me bring FEMA to the neighborhood to take claims from homeowners and work with various levels of government here. So we stand here again today at Eugene Field, named for a Chicago writer, to announce a major project for Albany Park that will write its future as a sounder and hopefully a drier one. The history here is rich. It's gone from farmlands to an urban neighborhood, and it's often linked to the river. This project will help residents near the river to alleviate, hopefully, much of the flooding we've experienced. However, let us keep in mind that Mother Nature humbles us from time to time, and we don't always have all the answers. But to tell you about a project is someone who, like myself, has seen firsthand the kind of damage that Albany Park residents experience. That is why he understands how important it is for the city to move this project forward. I'm proud to introduce a longtime friend and a great partner for Albany Park, Mayor Emanuel.
Thank you, Marge. Thank you, Alderman Laurino. I want to thank also Senator Silverstein and State Representative D'Amico that are here, John D'Amico, that are also with us. As Marge noted, back in September 2008, actually out on these streets, I was here with my daughter on a forklift as we drove through. Yeah, actually, at that time, we were taking pictures on our iPhone and sending them forward so we could have the first actual FEMA request in on that Monday morning back in 2008. This was about 2 months before the 08 election. And the flood had gone, I think it was, I'm not saying, close to 5 or 6 streets deep. And people's basements were ruined, their homes were ruined, and a lot of work had happened. Now, we have now had, in the 5 years, twice now, once in a century, types of rains and floods. Last time you had this many inches was in 1947. So what was supposed to be a once-in-a-century occurrence has now happened twice in 5 years, which means we need to make the investments that are necessary here in the Albany Park area to protect all the neighbors and all the residents who in the last 5 years twice now have had their basements rooms, heat turned off, all their lives disrupted. Now, in 2008, we made a series of investments in the Marge land that was supposed to absorb the water and take care of that problem. It clearly, as you can see over from Thursday night, did not work, and not work to the expectation that we have. So today we're announcing a $40 million investment to actually rechannel the water, what I call the Albany Park Deep Tunnel, basically, and the stormwater management, so that in fact we would not have these type of floods in the future, and make the type of final investment, because the fix that was occurred in 2008, while it helped, did not solve the problem. And it did not take care of this problem. So that families and residents who live here in Albany Park actually do not, every 5 years, have their basements ruined, their heat turned off, and their lives disrupted in this way. And it's the wrong thing to do. And I will, on a personal note, not only did I represent in this Congress, my grandparents on my mother's side lived here in Albany Park. We played here every Sunday night for family dinner, and so have deep roots. My uncle also was a police officer here in Albany Park and in 17th District. But this is the right type of fix that needs to be happen, the type of investment that's necessary to make sure that the residents and everybody do not have their lives every year, as every 5 years I've said, affected in a way that is so disruptive, all the property value that's lost, all the type of events that occur. And I was talking just the other day, on Friday, with a mother and a father whose heat was off. We called also People's Gas and told them, you got to get out here, get People's Gas, get their heat back on. Don't just let them go through, some call center and tell them it's going to take a week to get out there. And I'm proud now that People's Gas is here, getting people's lives back to normal again, with getting their heat back on. We're now going to do our responsibility and invest $40 million in finally fixing this problem, so that the Albany residents don't constantly have the type of disruption that has occurred here. And this is what it means about building a new Chicago, making sure we have the infrastructure that will meet the type of needs and type of events, because what we do know with the climate and the environment, the abnormal is becoming the new normal. When you have, in 5 years, a once-in-a-century event, it means there's something different happening, and we have to make the type of adjustments, the type of investments. And I want to say that for the city of Chicago, but I want to say also how much I appreciate the partnership with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District and their willingness to immediately step up and be our partner and co-investor in making sure that the residents, the neighborhood, the businesses here in Albany Park, which has a great deal of pride, get the resources they need to make this type of improvement. With that, I'd like to call on Kathleen Meany.
Good afternoon, I'm Kathleen Meany, President of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. And I'd like to mention to you that the torrential downpour that occurred this past week throughout the city of Chicago and Cook County was very devastating for many people. As the mayor mentioned, it's referred to as a 100-year storm. However, the intensity and the frequency has increased in the past few years. The district is proud to work along with the city, solving problems in the city, and we have a number of projects going on throughout Cook County. Albany Park is certainly an area that's been devastated. I was here Thursday night and saw it mentioned to the mayor and the alderman that when one walks the area and sees what the people have suffered, we know that intergovernmental efforts are necessary to alleviate flooding. So we're happy to do that. I'd like to congratulate the mayor and his leadership and Marge Laurino for her work in this ward. I'd also like to thank the Water Reclamation Board of Commissioners for their cooperation. We have with us today Vice President Barbara McGowan, Commissioner Frank Avila, Commissioner Daley Thompson in attendance as well. And we look forward to working together to bring much needed relief to the community of Albany Park. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Quigley, the Congressman from this district, 5th District. This week, I came back from D.C. on Friday and toured the western half of my district, much of which was underwater: Elmhurst, Hinsdale, Franklin Park, and finally here in Albany Park. They all need the same things. First of all, immediate response from FEMA and working with our county emergency agencies. That's our task to make sure it happens and we do it better than we did last time. Second, we need local remediation. In Chicago, that involves the project that the mayor and Alderman Laurino and MWRD folks are talking about right here, which is absolutely critical to keeping this neighborhood in a habitable situation. The mayor didn't mention is he's also orchestrated a very unique series of projects. It needs $17 million worth of new sewers this year in the city of Chicago. These are sewers, as you know, that sometimes are old wooden sewers, over 100 years old, that simply aren't doing the job. And they don't just deal with flood water appropriately, they also don't deal with getting the sewage out and not polluting our waterways. That's a decade-long project that includes $250 million worth of new sewers, which is absolutely critical. We also have to deal with the regional implications here, folks. This can't just keep happening. Part of that is also the reservoirs that our friends here at the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District are working on. The McCook and Thornton reservoirs still need to be funded. Literally, as the storm was taking place, I was on the phone with OMB. I reminded the person I was talking to that we need that funding, $35 million this year, $35 million next year, $35 million the year after, to make those reservoirs work. Remediation efforts locally are essential, very important, but they don't do the job as a whole unless we deal with the region. And finally, as the mayor was referring, climate change is real, and we all have to start addressing that. Because I keep hearing about 100-year-old storms every other year. It's a different world. So I appreciate everyone who's here, the extraordinary efforts that are going into place, the fast actions of the city of Chicago and Alderman Laurino toward this end, and I appreciate all of you being here. I believe Mr. Powers will stay to answer any questions you might have.
Good morning. My name is Thomas Powers, and I'm the Commissioner for the Chicago Department of Water Management. And I'm here to answer any technical questions that you may have.
Sir, why don't we just start with this project, how that's happening, where you're going to start, what you're going to do, that kind of thing.
So what this project entails is it's a diversion tunnel. So when the river starts to come up after a storm event, the water will spill into a drop shaft and it goes down roughly about 100 feet. And it's underneath Foster Avenue. And it travels the length of Foster Avenue. It comes out on the east side of the North Shore Channel to another drop shaft up back into the channel. So the storm water will be diverted out of this neighborhood.
And when will you start that project? Are you able to do it now? Obviously there's water everywhere. Are you able to start?
We're in the design phases right now. So we'll be doing design this year and trying to get the construction early next year.
And I know that there's been mention of, obviously you were doing things to try to mitigate the flooding in the area, the kind of fixes that aren't working. Was this ever something that was considered previously, and why now as opposed to then? I mean, was it a cost issue? Why not do this then?
Well, we had some solutions in place going forward from 2008, as Mayor Emanuel had said. Including expansion of wetlands, places to store the water. We thought that we could capture a lot of the water and keep it out of the residents in the area's basements and stop that overland flow. Unfortunately, we're seeing different rain events than the sewer system had ever been designed for. What we're seeing is intense storms that drop an incredible amount of rain in a very short time, and there's not a sewer system in the world that can handle that kind of water when it's coming in like that. So part of what we did was to try to divert some of that water into wetlands, trying to restore nature basically, and this is a continuation of that effort.
How long have you been working on this project?
This project, we've been working on this now for about a year, Alderman? About a year or so. So the first part, as I said before, was the expansion of the wetlands just upstream from here. And then this is the last phase.
So at a time when all we hear about is budget, and we're in the hole and stuff, where is this money coming from?
It's partially funded from our partners at the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. part from city, state, and federal sources. So it's a combination of all of these departments coming together.
So is that because of like the emergency declaration or anything like that? Is that what you mean?
No, we all just got together to come up with a solution to this and try and solve this problem.
All right, thanks guys.